And the music should play now. And the music and the
There it is, faintly. You might be the only one who can hear it.
Yeah.
No way, really?
For the people, it's very, very faint. And for the people listening, they might not hear it.
We can put it in post.
Yeah.
There is no post. I mean, I've just started learning how to edit, so there is no post at this point. I send it over to Emma, and she puts it. Yeah, I mean, we are the sloppiest pod of all.
Damn right.
So this fits.
She gets these every week. She's like, I can't fix this.
I heard it, but I think it's because I have my headphones on. It doesn't matter. You know what this is. It's What's the Odds with Steve Renazizi. And we're back. We are with you again. We had to take a week off. You know what happened. We had heartbreak. So, on so many levels. There's been so much heartbreak in the past 10 days, 12 days since we last talked to you. So much fucking heartbreak. Both personally, on our, on the grand scheme of life. We watched the greatest football game in the history of the sport. I mean, the two greatest games I've ever seen in my life, I realized the other day in the shower. Both basically were like, they involved the Bills losing. All right, that's enough.
Yeah, now turn it off.
Still playing? Yeah.
It's still playing.
How long is that song?
That's how you remember how long it actually is.
I turned the volume off. It doesn't matter. Nothing works. Watch. Oh, there it is. Okay, now it's off. The Bills have been on the losing end of two of the best football games I've ever seen in my entire life. This game was the greatest football game I've ever seen. The game we're talking about, obviously the divisional series game, which we haven't really even gone into depth about, spoken about, and so much shit's happened since then. The NFL might be racist. It's beginning to think it might. Yeah, I think the NFL might have a little bit of a race issue.
The NFL made a rule to not be racist, and then they broke that rule.
And just made it more racist.
Yeah.
Anytime you make a rule, right? Two things are going to happen. Two things. It was so egregiously bad that you needed to put a rule in place to have that happen.
Mm-hmm.
You notice how, like, when you walk around in life, you don't see like a sign that says like, "Don't fuck the dogs." Don't fuck dogs, because it's just not a big problem. But if you needed a sign that says "Don't fuck those dogs," two things are going to happen. You're going to put that sign up, and that's a problem already. And then you're going to remind people, and all they're going to want to do is fuck those dogs. So now when you have 32 whiteys together in this fucking room, chatting it up about who's going to be the next fucking coach of this team and playing, human chess, Squid Games, then this is what's going to happen. You're going to have this problem. So yeah, the rule was probably well-intentioned. I bet the Roonies didn't need the rule. They're probably the ones that came up with it. Hey guys, this is a great idea. Why don't you develop from within?
It's the Rooney rule.
Yeah, it's called the Rooney rule.
Well, because they brought in Mike Tomlin, I thought they thought they were going to hire someone. They brought in Mike Tomlin, and they obviously were wowed by him, and they hired him. So I thought the rule was because it's like, hey, this works. If you continue to bring in Black candidates, you will eventually find people that fit your system and make it work. And obviously, it's worked. So I think the Roonies were a good example of how it should work, but. Since then, I guess it's done nothing. It's obvious. I mean, and now we got a big fucking problem because we'll get into it. But look, it all stems from the Bills. It all comes from the Bills. And I think it's just it's a New York football triangle of fuckery. It's like it started with the Giants hiring, Schoen, and then he leaves, and then he starts to interview his buddies, which we knew was going to happen. We knew it was going to happen. You knew they was going to bring in the offensive coordinator. And both these guys deserve job interviews. Both Leslie Frazier and Dabble I mean, they got a good team. They turned a fucking pretty bad, laughing stock team into one of the best teams in the league in 5 years. So they did it. Proven track record. So you're going to have those guys come in, obviously. And so my only concern was it was going to fuck the Bills because they had that big week, to get ready for the Chiefs. And then when you watch the game, I don't know if you guys have replayed it in your mind. I really believed. I was very happy on a lot of fronts because it looked like the Bills were 1,000% prepared. They were, it seemed like everyone was on the same page. There didn't seem any points of major frustration or, it was a great football game back and forth. They did a great job dominating for certain sections. And Josh Allen played. I mean, that was probably the best game I've ever seen a quarterback play in my entire life. And so all those things together, I felt confident, especially going towards into the fourth quarter and then late into the game. I was like, I feel like the Giants didn't jinx the fucking Bills from getting what they wanted to get accomplished by basically, because I think that's got to be a distraction. If I'm interviewing, like if you were going to shoot a special, right, next week, and all you want to do is go over your set this week, wouldn't it be weird if I asked you to come in and do a corporate event for me, right? I might pay you, but I might not. And you have to write a whole new hour of material for my fucking corporation and the people that I know. And yeah, I know it's like, yeah, I know my hour. And you know how it is. Like the last week, it's just like, I want to film it. Like, I just want to keep, I want to get it out there. But it would, to me, it's just like, it would be a distraction. So I just wanted to make sure that the Giants didn't fucking jinx the Bills in some way. And they didn't, because the Bills played essentially a perfect football game. They got beat defensively, which if you're going to get beat, that's the way to, I mean, in a weird way, it was like, it didn't force it. It wasn't like a run. It was just like, the way I looked at it was like, remember in Rocky 2 at the end where they're just throwing haymakers? The punches are more powerful than the defense that is able to take that punch. And that's why they both fall down. So it was like, did I think that fucking Mahomes could get 13 seconds, get to field goal range? No. Was I surprised he did? Kind of no. Did I think going into overtime that the Bills were in big fucking trouble? Yeah. And when they stopped them, it was like they lost the coin toss, and that it was over after that. It was fucking, I mean, I feel like it's just bad fucking luck, and never having Jared Allen being able to,
Josh
Allen, the other Jared Allen, be able to touch the ball again was a shame. I mean, I don't know if you guys are still on board. I really couldn't. I don't understand hearing the whole "we got to change the rule" thing the next day. That was all like the talk all day long. It was like, we got to change the rule. And yeah, I mean, the rule could be looked at, but it's got nothing to do with that game. That rule's been the way that,
And the rule worked against the Chiefs 3 years ago. And the Chiefs proposed, let's change the rule. And every owner, including Buffalo, said, no, the rule's good. We're going to keep it as is. So we gotta just eat the fact that that's the rule. That's the way it falls.
And did I jinx you guys by texting you? I mean, probably. But honestly, I'm going to give myself a little bit of credit here.
That was 5 big mistakes in 13 seconds by the coach.
4 possessions before that. I wanted to text you 4 possessions before that. When it was like, when they went down, when they went up, that's when I wanted to text you the first time in regulation. Then Mahomes comes down, scores right away, and you go down, right? It wasn't tied. You went down, right? Down by 4. Yes, 4. With like a minute and something left, minute and a half, a little less.
Minute and 3, I think.
Minute and 3, yeah. And so I was so happy at that point that I didn't text you because I go, I would have fucking jinxed it. And then when he came back and just put together the drive of a fucking lifetime, dude. You guys and the people of Buffalo will be talking about that, even though it's a fucking loss for forever, dude, forever. That was the drive of a lifetime. He put the entire city and team on his back, and he willed them down the fucking field. And, you know, he made, what's that guy, Douglas? What was the
Gabriel
receiver's
Davis.
name? Davis? He made him look like Jesus. The guy looked like fucking Jerry Rice and Tim Brown.
Yeah, greatest receiving game in the history of the playoffs.
And no one will even remember, and he'll never come close to anything like that ever again in his life. It was a magical situation.
He's a second-year player going into his third. That's when they peak. So
okay.
we've got ourselves a good team, Steve.
I'm not saying it was a once in a lifetime game. If he comes close to ever doing anything remotely close to that, it would be surprising to me.
Well,
but the point
the crazier
is
stat is Josh Allen played in 2 playoff games, and he only had 4 more incompletions than he had touchdowns in 2 playoff games against.
I mean, I think the record was
against a top 5 defense in the Patriots, and then against the defense that for the last 8 weeks in the Chiefs was the number 1 defense in football. And he had 4 more incompletions than touchdowns.
It was like watching domination. He dominated the defense. They could not stop him. He was, when they tried to get, I mean, he broke through tackles, even a couple sacks here and there, and got out. He ran for
he
first
knocked
down.
out 2 players.
Yeah,
he ran through 2
nobody
guys,
wanted
knocked
to tackle
one
it,
out
dude.
for the game, knocked another out for a few plays. I mean, the guy's a beast.
And you teach most quarterbacks to slide and get down. This guy is a fucking football player. If he wasn't a quarterback, he would have been a tight end. He was born to play football, you know?
Yeah.
So, and he had, I mean, again, the game of his life, not the one he hopes is the game of his life. That's to come. But, and when Mahomes, when they scored, that's why I texted, I go, this is it, guys. 13 seconds. It's over. Congratulations. And I just, from there on out, I couldn't believe it. And again, I don't think I jinxed you. I hope I didn't. I hope the Giants didn't. I hope, but in the meantime, I think that, that was the best game by I believe, the 2 best teams. I think the Bengals are the hottest team. The Bengals remind me of the Washington Nationals a couple years ago. Remember the Nationals? They were like the last team, and they won a wild card game, or like a one game against the Brewers. They barely got in, and so they just got hot at the right time. I don't even know if they're going to win. We can talk. We'll get into that later. But
Joe Burrow could make history, Steve. If he wins the Super Bowl, if he wins the Super Bowl, first guy to win the Heisman, win the national championship, and win the Super Bowl in a career, and he can do it in 3 years.
Dude, we're talking about a point at quarterbacks where I don't know if we've ever seen this before. Someone said the other day, the AFC is the age of the quarterback.
By the way, Aaron Rodgers is minus 110 to be the Broncos' next quarterback if you're betting on who the Broncos' next QB is. Everybody's in the AFC.
Look at the AFC West quarterbacks. Let's just hypothetically say Rodgers went there. The worst quarterback, arguably, in that division is Derek Carr.
And there's still talks that Russell Wilson could go to Vegas. There could be trades. There's rumors.
You got Mahomes,
what if that happens?
Herbert, Carr, and possibly Rodgers in the same division.
And possibly Russell Wilson going to the Raiders.
And that's what makes guys like Carson Wentz look like. I'm like, what, dude?
Yeah.
It's black and white right now. They're playing the way you played for one season. Yeah. They're playing like the way you played for one season of your life. I mean, you got Josh Allen, you have Patrick Mahomes, and you've got Deshaun Watson hasn't even played football. You got Lamar Jackson, so there are guys there that are the AFC is just it's an incredible time to watch these quarterbacks go. But again, I don't know how you felt after. I don't know what you felt. Tell me about what you guys went through. I want to hear it. How did you feel? What did you do? How did you react? How long did it take to recover?
I'll never recover, Steve.
I mean,
this is heartbreak that I'll never.
Just throw it on the pile. 13
Yeah.
seconds, Music City Miracle wide right. It's what it's like to be a Bills fan. But the way I looked at it after a few days of just being really upset, it's like, look, we got to play in the greatest football game that's ever been played. It sucks that it didn't go the way we wanted it to because of a few mistakes at the end, but we're here and the future is as bright as it's ever been. And they kept zooming the camera in on Josh Allen's eyeballs. You think that guy is not going to want to win a Super Bowl? And now he's been in the most high pressure situation. And we saw what he responded with in the most high pressure situation. And kudos to Mahomes as well. I don't know if you saw his trainer that tracks his vitals during the game. He released what his vitals were and his heart rate was way the fuck up when he was off the field watching Josh Allen. And then it was lower than like a resting heart rate when he was on the field. And I'm sure Josh was probably the same way. So
that's what great athletes do. I also have a Whoop, and I track my heart rate. And when I hit good shots, that's where in golf, that's where I maintain my level. And when I'm watching other players, like when I watch my son play baseball and stuff, my elevated heart rate goes through the roof. So great athletes, yes. Patrick Mahomes, myself, Josh Allen.
But they made some big mistakes. They didn't squib kick it. McDermott came out later and said that they were going to, and it just wasn't executed properly. And then the calling of the timeouts on those two plays after the first one to Tyreek Hill, they called a timeout before the first play even went to see the defense. And then they didn't adjust the defense to the offensive scheme. And they were blitzing four guys, which made no sense. And they weren't hitting Kelsey off the line. And then they called timeout after the second play and allow them to, I'm sure you heard the audio between Mahomes and Kelsey. Hey, the seam's wide open. And then right before the snap, Mahomes going, Kelsey, do it.
Yep.
And if they just don't call timeout on either one of those, the Chiefs can't set anything up. And if they just blitz three guys instead of four, and the fourth guy pops Kelsey off the line, he doesn't have the timing to get to that seam, and the whole thing's different. So it was very simple mistakes to be corrected, and it's disappointing that they couldn't do that in real time. But hopefully McDermott learns from this, and the team is great. They're going to draft some cornerback depth, and hopefully Tre'Davious White comes back healthy, and defense is a little bit stronger because they were so bad against the run last year. This year they were still bad against the run, but it was much better. And next year, if we keep moving forward, they're going to win a Super Bowl. It's becoming inevitable. The team is too good.
I've heard that possibly Gronkowski's interested in coming back and playing with them for a year, moving back to Buffalo and hanging out with the family, which I think would be an upgrade for you guys at tight end.
Well, Dawson Knox was the only other tight end with Travis Kelce to have double-digit touchdowns in the season.
Well, I think
and he played quite well.
Blocking
when he
and
needed to
like
catch the ball, he caught the ball. There was just the one game against the Patriots where they ran the ball down our throats, where he had a few bad drops. But other than that, Knox is a very solid tight end. But yeah, if we get Gronk and we can run two tight end sets and take a little pressure off of Allen running the ball and develop a run game, that would be fantastic.
What do you guys have in plan or in place as far as like replacing the offensive coordinator now that
they already did. They already
coach?
did.
Yeah.
Ken Dorsey.
Oh, they did.
He was the quarterback coach, and that's who Josh Allen wanted. So he's thrilled.
Okay.
You remember Ken Dorsey, right? The 2003 Miami Hurricane QB.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep.
So we're in good shape.
He's going to be the new offensive coordinator.
Shape,
and
Steve.
Leslie Frazier didn't get a job, right? So he's still going to be the defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And then who comes in? Your GM is still there, so it doesn't matter.
GM's still there, and we hired the Minnesota Vikings offensive line coach, and they've been running that great zone run scheme, turning Dalvin Cook into a superstar. So we've replaced pretty much everybody that has left.
Yeah. Now it's time to look forward to the drafts for me.
Yeah.
I mean, by the way, going back to that weekend was the best weekend of football.
It was.
I think. Yeah. I mean, can't beat
all
those
four games. And then the week after didn't disappoint either.
They were great games. Surprising in some sense. I think people don't understand how, like we talked about, Joe Burrow and the Bengals, they don't give a fuck. They don't know what they don't know. So they don't know they're supposed to be, nervous and sort of anxious about what's going on. Joe Burrow is 7-0, and what would they consider these playoff games, both in college? They're not even considering the games that he went down like on the road and beat fucking teams. I think he beat Alabama on the road. So these are big fucking situations he's been in, and the guy lights it up every single time. So I think that is probably the only reason they are 4.5 within.
Well, the only thing to track is he's nursing a pinky injury, so it could affect his throwing. It probably won't because he has that extra week, but that is something to watch.
I would watch more of the offensive line. That's what I would worry about more than his pinky. I think his pinky will be better than, they need to
if you're talking about the Titans game, I think he was just holding on to the ball too long. There were a couple of those sacks that weren't his fault, but there were a few. He was the second best in the league this year in evading the rush, and he held the ball too long on several throws. And maybe it's because guys weren't open and he just took the sacks, but it's not all on them. Those 9 aren't all on the line.
Yeah, but against the Chiefs, it was like I never felt. I don't think he felt like he was nervous going down, like going into the second half. They didn't feel, because they had been down before. They realized they could come back and win. But the way he did it, just in the absolute cool manner, very matter of fact, and honestly, he seemed to kind of go, "Oh shit, we probably are going to lose now that we lost the coin toss in overtime," but getting the ball back, there was no it was just like, here we go. Let's just get down, get field goal range. And this kid that's, another fucking unbelievable young, doesn't know how big the situation is kid, that McPherson kid, the kicker. It's like, you put those two together, someone that can get you in field goal range and a kid that's going to make it, they are dangerous, dude. The longer they hang around, they are dangerous. And the Rams don't blow teams out. The Rams don't blow. They don't have a tendency really. So I know it's 4.5 right now. We can track it over the course of the next week, and we'll cover all our bets for next week. For the Super Bowl next week. But I just, not that I was. Yes, I was surprised that they. I think the Packers losing to the 49ers was a bigger surprise than the Bengals losing to the Chiefs. Bengals beating the Chiefs to me. That to me seemed, I was like, oh, that was not supposed to be. The 49ers being there in the championship game was very surprising to me.
Well, especially considering the first drive of that 49ers game, the Packers drove down the field and scored a touchdown. And then Aaron Rodgers was just like, I'm out.
Easy. And that was, I mean, he just has the 49ers have his number.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but they have his number. And the carousel that's going to ensue now between where he goes and where, Denver's set up for it. But, obviously the 49ers are going to move on from Garoppolo. So he's got to go somewhere else. They're going to commit to Trey Lance. But unless, what if fucking Aaron Rodgers wants to go to the 49ers? What if he pulls a Kevin Durant? If you can't beat him, join him. That's what I love about Josh Allen. You have one of those guys, by the way, that's never going to be like, dude, I can't fucking do this. I'm just going to go play for Nashville. That's, they got running back
he gets
and the defense.
He ends literally every interview with Go Bills. The guy gets it.
You guys
Buffalo bought his love when they made that fund for his grandmother at the Children's Hospital, which we should thank Kansas City was very classy, and they were donating in amounts of $13. They raised like $500,000 to that fund. So nice play out of the Bills Mafia playbook. So hats off to them. That's the way you should handle sportsmanship, not the way Jackson Mahomes and Brittany, what's her face, do.
I don't even know what's going on with them. Why does America hate them so much?
They're making TikToks. It's like, when Juju makes TikToks and we don't like Juju, at least Juju made the NFL and he's on the field. Jackson is making the TikToks from the owner's box, and and Mahomes' fiance is spraying people with champagne in the freezing cold down below the peasants, as was being said on Twitter. And then claim that they were all saying they wanted it.
Well, and she made T-shirts. She made T-shirts to combat online bullying because of it. Some like Team Brittany bullshit.
Is it be best? Is it like, she should
let me find it.
Melania Trump, what did Melania Trump's jacket say? Like, just
I don't
get
care.
Over it,
do
or
you?
It said like, that was it. Like, get over it. You
but suck. Yeah, they're being very loud when Patrick lets his play on the field.
Is the brother
be very
gay?
Loud. I have no idea.
I think he is. I think he might be. Hey, can you enable share screening, Steve?
Oh, shit. Oh, my God.
Yeah,
share content.
Brittany is coming out with T-shirts to combat these.
Oh, Steve, there you are.
Share screen.
It's a good close-up on your knuckles.
I mean, I don't know what to do here, guys. I'm so
it's like you're fist pounding your computer. Okay. It's not that big a deal. But yeah,
I can post it on Instagram. Lucas, send me a link.
Okay. Also, Jackson Mahomes not only dances, but like he danced on Sean Taylor's the day that Washington unveiled Sean Taylor's painting on the field. He TikTok danced on it, so that pissed a lot of people off.
Yeah.
You would think at some point Patrick would just say, "Hey guys, I love that you support me, and it's great that you're here, but shut the fuck up."
Yeah, and I would say, hey man, don't you know they killed fucking Michael Jordan's dad? They'll kill you, dude.
Yeah, but Patrick's not that guy at all. Patrick is very classy and humble, and he does his work on the field, and he deserves to behave like that if he wants to, and he chooses not to. So the fact that the two closest people to him are doing it, and they're doing it obnoxiously loud, like you'd think in the off season he would talk to them and say, "Hey, let's tone it down and just enjoy the fact that we're here." You're making everyone root against me.
And also, you know what it is? It's first of all, they haven't done shit, so they shouldn't be able to say a damn thing, but that's besides the point. Mahomes makes it look easy. He's got that sort of Brady mentality where it's like, I expect to be there every year. So these guys are like, well, we do this this is what we do. This is how we do it. It's like, no, this is pretty special, the run that your brother and boyfriend are going on. So you should just probably be fucking happy that you're along for the ride every time. But speaking of along, both All-Star games are in Vegas this weekend. Both the hockey one is Friday night and the Pro Bowl is Sunday night, right? Pro Bowl Sunday.
To see Dahlin.
Is no one's are there Bills playing in the Pro Bowl? You don't want anyone playing in there.
Diggs and I think one or two defenders are. I think Poyer might be there. But yeah, Josh Allen pulled out.
Yeah, well, let's get back to the race thing for a second before we get to the Pro Bowl, or who cares about the Pro Bowl? Just don't get hurt.
No one cares about the Pro Bowl. We'll be betting on it, though.
Yeah, I think the Brian Flores thing, it was like one day of happiness we had as a Giants fan. I was like, okay, this guy showed up to work. The videos of him showing up to work in his big blue truck and his family. Dabble's going into the office. He's got a briefcase. Who knows what's in it? Could be fucking,
sandwich,
Snickers bars. Yeah, who knows what's in a fucking briefcase. But anyway, and then literally 12 hours later, it was like, we're terrible racists. We're horrible. And we might be. And it might end up being the fact that we are. And that I think everyone in the National Football League is probably realizing the fact that most of the ownership is to a certain extent. So, yeah. And then, I was like, oh, we can't be, we're doing the right thing here. I'm like, I'm trying to piece in my mind the Giants. I'm like, they interviewed Leslie Frazier. And so like, they obviously, and what I heard, what we talked about last week was that Mara's first choice going into the final decision for head coach was Flores. So I thought he was very much part of this process. So it was very surprising that the text message, which that to me is the smoking gun. This whole thing, I don't know if it comes to, I'm sure he has these feelings, Brian Flores, but when you've got like some sort of proof that this is could have possibly have happened, even though everyone's backtracking now. Apparently the text message says, oh, allegedly got high. I thought I heard that were probably going to get hired. I don't think it said like, congratulations on getting hired, but who knows? I haven't really looked at it yet. But the point is that's the smoking gun. And, is Belichick going to walk that back? He's obviously, I'm sorry, I texted to Ron Bryan. But then to me, the worst thing out of this whole thing, now, obviously I'm not Brian Flores. I'm not getting jobs because I'm black. But if I get told by my owner that I have to throw a game or, do the best I can to kind of put the team in a situation to lose for $100,000, what the fuck was Ross thinking down in Florida? What was that about? That
They have
to me,
they have to take the team from him.
But not only that, it's like 3 years ago, I want you to throw these games and I'll pay you $100K every time you lose. And then 2 years later, you fire the guy because he didn't win enough games. So yeah, he needs to take the team away, give it all to Fergie. Fergie runs football now.
By the way, didn't win enough games. It was like he went almost 500.
Yeah.
He went over 500.
And he went on the 8-game winning. He went on the 8-game winning streak. And they almost made the playoffs, and the team loved him. And he did it with a mediocre quarterback that he didn't draft. Brian Flores didn't want to.
Yeah, I think that was,
that's probably why. That's probably why they fired him, is because he was probably in the ear going, "I don't want this quarterback next year."
Yes.
And they're like, well, we do. So you're.
How do you have a good relationship with someone after they? I equate it to Pete Rose. It's exactly what Pete Rose did. But at least Pete Rose bet on his own team. This is a guy who's putting his team or is getting paid to put his team in a situation to lose. To not, I mean, you're talking about, the fans that bought tickets, the season ticket holders, forget the 53 guys going out there every week risking their fucking lives and bodies. And then, now we have the gambling aspect where it's like, are they going to try to tank it this week? Is this a tank week for the Dolphins? So
yeah,
that if it is, and he better have proof, and I doubt he does, dude. I mean, unless you have that shit in writing, there's no way you get to become a billionaire without knowing how to, not put yourself in a situation like this. Well, you don't put shit like an underhanded thing in writing. You usually, you have people that do that for you. I never think, I don't think it's going to link back to him. But, the only time I've ever seen this work is when they got rid of, what's his name, the Clippers owner. And that's because the lady just fucking taped him without him knowing. Now, if Flores had a tape and taped this situation, that's a different story. That's something we're going to need that probably. But that's the only way. And by the way, he still kicked and screamed. I think that if they don't have any evidence, and they're probably, every other owner is probably calling him right now, hey, man, you better not have done this. And if you did, we better not be able to, they shouldn't be able to prove it. If that's going on, all the other owners will wrap their arms around him and say, this is, false allegations, blah, blah, blah. But if it starts to, shit starts to, like, pictures of him taking money or wire transactions or blah, 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 next thing you know, everyone's going to be like, fuck this guy. They're going to be arm's distance from him. So we'll know.
I'll tell you what,
the NFL's investigating.
Bill Belichick is the greatest coach in the history of football because it's not even the next season, and he's already eliminated 2 teams.
What do you mean the NFL's investigating themselves?
No, they're investigating the Browns and the Dolphins.
Yeah,
so they'll talk to people, witnesses. I mean, the whole, when Stephen Ross wanted Flores to meet the high-profile quarterback in 2020, do you read about that? There's a lot of speculation as to who that was. I mean, obviously, a lot of people think it's Tom Brady. So there's more than 2 people involved in this that they could talk to. So who knows what they get out of it? You're right. Unless they have a tape, I don't see them taking the team from him. But it's gonna instill changes like an NFL draft lottery, hopefully.
Who loses their ownership first? Go ahead.
Public perception says he's already guilty. So there's going to be a lot of pressure on the league to do something and change something. So I think Lucas is right. This will lead to the draft lottery. No more tanking for people.
And you think that's it? You think that Ross won't lose his team? I think. Who do you think loses their team first, Ross or Dan Snyder?
Oh, Snyder's bulletproof by this point.
He can't die. He's not going away.
Dude, everyone thought that about the old man that owned the Clippers. The guy.
Yeah, but how many things has he had come out against him, and he's still there? And it's just like people forget because they just don't care about that team.
The Commanders.
Yeah.
Did you see that this week?
I'm never calling them
horrible.
Bad.
The Commanders, and then the next day the owner gets fucking busted for. I mean, you got like I can name. You got Ross down there who's paying players or coaches to possibly not do well. Dan Snyder's run basically a brothel for the last 13 years. Jim Irsay's on every pill imaginable, here and there. When he is, when he isn't, who knows? He's still running the team. No one knows, what's going on. And so it's like these guys are not. They're all imperfect creatures, every one of them. And for them to just continuously just rally around each other and prop each other up, it's got to be something where someone's there. You need I hate to say it, like a Mark Cuban. Like when Mark Cuban came into basketball, it was like, no, dude, I'm young and we're not going to play by your old man rules anymore. And we're going to get some, diversity in here, this and that. So,
hey man, that's the future.
He opened the doors up.
All these teams are going to be owned by 14-year-old crypto nerds.
Well, it might be the way to go for right now, because at least you have some sort of transparency. These kids, I feel like these guys have to live transparent. Everything's out there, all their thoughts, all their, everything they think about, everything's out there. So it's like, well, if we're going to own the team, you're going to have to play by the same rules. You don't think that if they made Ross sell that you could get a group of people together, a couple of black people together to buy the Miami Dolphins? You don't think, Diddy and fucking Jay-Z and Beyonce and
I'm
Jennifer
sure
Lopez
would
get
probably
together
want to join that, and Tom Brady will be looking to get into ownership at some point. But don't forget, Fergie is a minority owner of that team, so maybe she'll get a little bit more.
Yeah, they won't have a hard time. Fergie. They won't have a hard time finding an owner. That's what could fuck over. And I saw the Broncos are for sale now. So Jeff Bezos is my wild card. That fucking guy, there's a lot of billionaires in the world. There's only 30 football
Jeff
teams.
Bezos is going to buy the Broncos. You think we play at a high altitude now? We're moving the stadium to space.
I mean, that's the one thing I will say. I was telling, it is an expensive, but they go up in value. They constantly do. There's only 32 of them. And you want to own one.
I mean, if the Broncos land Rodgers, they're a Super Bowl favorite. So what a time to buy the team when they're at their peak.
And, that fan base is great.
They're awesome.
They're built in. They're not, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to do any brand changing. There's no racist undertones in the name or the history of the team. You don't have the worst thing you have is John Elway showing up to fucking meetings drunk, which that was another story in the Florida.
That's endearing. That's an endearing thing. That means he's your buddy.
I completely buy it, dude. And honestly, yes, it would suck. But you know how many auditions I've been on before where I walked in and the fucking guy sits down and takes a phone call or, picks his nose or he looks at the casting director's ass and he's not listening to a fucking thing I say. I understand it's not right, but it happens a lot more. And to be honest, I'm interviewing you. If you showed up drunk, that's not good. I'm not saying he showed up drunk, but a little banged up. That's what these fucking guys do. That's what these former athletes that run these things. I mean, that's who they are. So you think Jordan shows up without having played golf for meetings and stuff like that, totally sober, not having smoked a cigar? It's a lifestyle these guys live. So that to me is the least egregious out of all the fucking things that Flores brought up. But I believe 100% that Elway was hammered or coming off of a bender or probably smelled like booze. And that's endearing to me. Sorry. I didn't know the Broncos were for sale.
Yeah.
Can we get that together?
Came out.
How much Dogecoin do you have now, Brenton?
I don't want to say the exact amount, but I'm still well over $1 million.
Okay. Speaking of that, let's get to a financial report because another area of misery. Last time we did a podcast, you guys told me, you're like, hey, I think Netflix is going down a little bit. When I got done with the podcast, I'd lost a quarter of my wealth. So
we sold the house. I'm in a bunker.
Yeah, and in the meantime, I live in a hut.
They're letting us live in the shed in the backyard.
It's a
the
storage
new owners,
unit.
They're very kind.
I pay $110 a month for the storage unit, and everyone seems to be working out. That's why the Wi-Fi is a little spotty.
It's fine. The market fluctuates, Steve. It's not like you were selling and buying every day anyway. You're not a day trader. You're fine
a little bit.
You're fine.
I called my people, and they were like, look, that's just why we're all over the place. We're not just a lot of, we're not all Netflix, so don't worry about it. And so yeah, I don't know what happened or what's going on, but since then now Facebook's gone down 28%. And I don't know if this is like a fuck you to the stock market of just being like, you guys have had it great for the last how many years? The stock market has been great for like the last 10 years. So maybe this is a course correction of the stock market.
This is the government stop printing money and throwing it into the market. That's what had been going on the previous years, especially when COVID hit. And now we're not doing that. And so all these companies were way overvalued because there was just money being pumped in. And now we realize that these companies don't have the value that we thought they did a year ago.
Well, I mean, like, there's only so many people in the world. How many subscribers do they want to get every fucking quarter?
They're raising their prices. So they maybe will lose some people with that. And you're still, with Netflix, they're spending $1 trillion on literally a new show and a movie and 3 stand-up specials coming out every single day.
And a problem with streaming services have
pump the brakes on that a little bit.
Oh, I didn't know people did this, but I think it's kind of a good idea. There's people out there that will subscribe to Netflix for 3 months, watch all the shit that they want to watch on Netflix, and then they'll cancel that membership, subscribe to HBO for 3 months, watch all the shit they want on HBO, and then go to Hulu, and they just cycle. So Netflix, I think, should be okay because they have pricing power, and they know that multiple people use one account. If they want to shut that off tomorrow, they can.
They would lose a lot of people.
I don't think they want to do
I know. Yeah.
But sidebar, if you have Hulu, watch Only Murders in the Building. Just brilliant. Steve
Martin show?
Yeah, genius.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right, I'll try it. I was kind of like, I love Steve Martin, but I was like, Selena Gomez.
No, she's fantastic. Get over that.
I did watch the first 2 of Pam and Tommy.
How is it?
Interesting. It's I think the tone, it took me a little second to figure out the tone. I thought it was going to be more, I don't know, for some reason I had like that Sean Murphy, is it Sean Murphy? Who's the fucking guy that does like all the American horror stories?
Yeah. Something Murphy,
like,
God damn it.
Oh, Ryan Murphy.
Ryan Murphy, yeah. Like I had like the OJ sort of like, they're going to play it real straight down the middle kind of. They're more, they do look a lot, but it's more caricature than what I thought it was going to be tone wise. So, but funny in parts and interesting and sort of, I didn't really know the story completely. I don't know if they're going 100% based on the real story. But so far the first 2 are pretty interesting. The girl, I don't know, the Lily James, I think her name is, because she doesn't really look at all like Pam Anderson. They did a good job. And, what's his name? The guy, fuck. What's the guy's name? The guy that plays Tommy Lee. Gosh, whatever. He looks a lot like him too, but not as tall. But the Dom is it's a big character. Let's just put it that way. Very prominent. If you're skittish on full frontal nudity, this ain't the fucking show for you. Let's just put it that way. All right. But I'm going to continue on. Is there full frontal nudity in the Steve Martin show?
No, there's not.
Okay.
There's murdering.
Question about one more, just to backtrack for a second. What is Bitcoin at right now? Is it done?
No. It got back over 40K, so it's fine.
But what was the drop? It was dropped from 6 figures, right?
No, it didn't drop 6 figures. Its peak
was
I think
at
like
6 figures.
70. No, its highest it's ever been was I think like 72,000 or something.
And the lowest it's gotten in the last 6 months looks to be about 35,000.
All right. Well, that's all right then. We're still on target for that. That's okay. Good.
Yeah. It's fine.
Oh, let's get speaking of money. I almost So now because I have the DraftKings Sportsbook, I can, whenever I feel like I got these gut feelings on some of these golf tournaments. So last week I said to myself, Xander Schauffele, he's a top 10 faux sure. They give me 15-1. Absolutely. $20 down. Then I take another $20 and I go, give me the stick that is William Zalatoris. I got a good feeling about this guy. And he was 38-1 to win. And so I put $20 down on him. And I'm not sure if you saw what happened, but going into the last round, he was in the lead. Going into the last hole, he was tied for the lead. And it was a par 5. He gets on, didn't have a great drive. Then he got it back on the fairway, then chipped it to about 15 feet. He had a 15-footer to win. And not only for him to win his first PGA tournament, which is a big deal, Torrey Pines, and your first win, but he could also win me like $680. I think that's what it was, something like that.
And then what happened, Steve?
The putt rolls right along the left edge. It's supposed to drop into the right, rims out to the side. Fuck.
Oh,
ties for the lead. They go to an extra hole.
He loses the coin toss, right?
Luke List, they don't do that. Yeah, they didn't do the coin toss. Luke List hit. They both hit decent drives. They both get to the fairway on 2. It's par 5. They're playing 18 again. Luke List hits a wedge to about 4 inches. So the Zalatoris hits a wedge to about 10 feet, and then he misses the putt. And obviously Luke List put it in, and I lost fucking, $680. But
no, you lost $20.
I lost $20, but I know that would have I know what I'm doing now. I know what to look for long shot wise. So yeah, my juice is starting to flow. Yes, it's all starting to happen sportsbook wise. Have you guys looked at any of the odds or any of the things interesting for the Super Bowl coming up?
I have not yet.
No. I know it's 4.5 as of yesterday.
And there's a lot riding on that. There's some key injuries that could affect the game.
What injuries?
You're looking at both of the starting tight ends. I don't know if either or both are going to play, but the Rams especially, they want to get Higbee back. I mean, Blanton has been solid, the rookie tight end. He's got size, and he's been playing pretty well in his absence, but the Bengals are the 5th worst team against tight ends, and tight ends have just lit them up throughout the playoffs. So you definitely want to get Higbee back if you can. But Uzama has been
did he break his ankle? What happened? It looked bad.
I think it was a knee, and I don't think he broke anything. I think they still both have a chance to play, but Uzama's probably further from being able to play, and Joe Burrow needs him because the drop down from Higbee to Blanton isn't as drastic as from Uzama to Sample, but we'll see. That could affect the game.
Do you want to wait until next week to do prop bets? I'm trying to find like the national anthem and all that shit.
Yeah, I'll give you some good. By
the way,
go ahead.
If the Bills had made the Super Bowl, I don't think we would have been going. The prices are ridiculous. And not even the tickets. Have you guys heard about the parking situation?
No, what is that?
If you want to park, so Cassie's dad was telling me this because he's a big Rams fan. If you want to park in the primo upfront spots, it's $500. If you want to park all the way on the edge of the parking lot, it's $300. And then there's like a strip mall that's across the street, and they're charging like $150. So just to park within like a mile of where the entrance is, you're paying at least $150, but you might be dropping $500.
$500.
That's to park.
I mean, don't people just can you take mass transit there? There's got to be
You can, yeah. But then you're on mass transit in LA.
That's the life you live. Here's some golf picks for this weekend. Kevin Kisner is a 90-1. They're at AT&T Pebble Beach up north. Bill Murray, It's a big amateur weekend. It's fucking great. He's 90-1, Kevin Kisner. I like that a lot. Okay. Been played well last week. Also, hold on, where's the other one I got here? Oh, Doc Redman, 40-1. Another guy to look for this weekend to win. These are just guys to win. And then Jason Day's 28-1. He played great last weekend, almost won. So I don't like him winning, coming that close 2 weekends in a row, but you never know. He can get over the top this weekend. So he's 28-1. So those are 3 people to look out golf-wise this weekend. You guys have any dates you wanted to plug right now? Are you guys doing on the road at all? I have a couple.
Well, I was bummed about Buffalo. I thought we were going to put you through a table.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. I promise you at some point I will go through a table. I'd really love to celebrate some sort of big Buffalo win.
Well, the Sabres are going to turn their season around and we're going to win the cup this year. That's what's going to happen.
That probably won't happen. So we might be able to dodge that. But
Donnie Meatballs has it all figured out.
First, let me thank, the people of Charlotte, because that's the last time I talked to you guys. They were awesome. They came out. Then last weekend, Naples, Florida was very interesting. Old people, but they were nice. They were very nice. None of them, not one podcast listener the entire weekend. Not one person came up. I don't think anyone there knew what a fucking podcast was. So it was like I didn't even exist in Naples, Florida. It was great. It was also the coldest weekend in the history of Florida. I went down there. It snowed here 24 inches in New York. We missed that, but Florida got cold. It was like 40 degrees and people were flipping the fuck out. They lost their minds. They were like laying on top of their vegetation to keep it warm and stuff. They didn't know how to handle it. So thank you for those that braved the weather to come out and watch shows last weekend. And then next weekend I'm in Raleigh at the Improv. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then Denver the last weekend in February for Comedy Works. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Get those tickets now. They sell out. So the weekend, the last weekend in February for that. SteveRennesEasy.com for tickets. So what else? There was something else I wanted to. Do you guys have anything you want to talk about? Let me look at my notes here.
No, I just realized the Olympics are going on. I forgot about that. Also,
yeah, the opening ceremony was this morning, I think.
Team USA women's hockey, the assistant captain broke her leg in the Finland game. So we're off to they won still, but they didn't bring any alternates. And now they got to fly somebody out last second to replace her.
They didn't bring any alternates.
I think it has to do with like
COVID.
I think it has to do with like COVID, and then just the whole: are we banning the Olympics? Are we not banning the Olympics? And just trying to keep as few people that needed to be there as possible, and they'll be fine. I mean, they're still a good team, but it sucks losing her. She was a very good player.
Is there anything that you even remotely care to look forward to in the Olympics? I'm trying to think of anything.
The hockey. Love the hockey. Figure skating.
But it's not even fun. The NHL players.
So what? It's still fun.
Yeah, I guess maybe. But what time are they on? It's like it's
snowboarding's always fun. The downhill skiing's cool.
But they have the X Games now. The X Games, you could watch that every fucking week.
Yeah, but the X Games don't have the weight. It's just there's something about winning an Olympic medal versus an X Games medal. It's like, Shaun White, when he wins a gold medal, it means a lot. And then he goes and plays in the X Games and they give him 14 medals in one tournament.
There are names I remember from the Winter Games. Apollo Anton Ono. Brian Boitano. Remember him?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Canadian figure skater from the 80s. Brian Boitano.
I only know him from South Park, but yeah.
Probably I mean, did they do a sketch on him? I didn't see that.
What would Brian Boitano do or something? I think it was in the movie.
Yeah, it's in the movie.
Well, speaking of movies, I cannot wait. I'm going to see Jackass tonight. I'm like a little kid. I haven't looked forward to a movie like this in so long. I've been playing the music all day. It's going to be fun. That there's nothing, there's no motives, there's no message
agendas
in the movie, political agendas, any of that bullshit. We're going to watch Johnny Knoxville get
let's lick a taser and put bees on our balls.
Yes, bringing the kids. We're gonna have fucking fun, laugh our asses off.
You're bringing a 9-year-old to watch Jackass?
Absolutely. Absolutely, dude.
Today he becomes a man.
Yes, he knows what doms are.
But he's so
and
impressionable.
Like
you watch a couple seasons of The Bachelor. He decides he wants to be the Bachelor. You bring in a Jackass. The next day, you're going to see him stapling his nuts to your
he doesn't
kitchen
have
island.
It. That's how I know. I know I can do that. I don't have lunatics. They both got a little bit too much of their dad in them. Safety first. So I know that they're a lot like they want to laugh and be a part of it in that aspect, but never actually take part. So.
I would make sure you watch this week's podcast of his after he goes and sees the movie to see what he's talking about and what he's doing on the show.
I know.
This could be the week he gets banned from YouTube.
He said, we asked him, he goes, I can't wait to watch a man shoot a firework out of his penis. I go, I don't even know if that's in there. He goes, I heard there's girls this year. Do they shoot fireworks out of their vagina? I go, we're going to have to watch the movie. Okay. We'll just have to take it one frame at a time. But yeah, no, I can't fucking wait.
Who would have thought Jackass would outlast Tom Brady's career?
Just barely.
No, it didn't come on before Tom Brady. Brady was before Jackass, wasn't it?
I don't think it was. I think they were around at the same time, right around 2000. They came out.
You might be right because I moved to LA in 2001, and Jackass was already on the air.
The first
99?
The first TV show came out in October 2000.
Wow. Isn't that when Tom Brady start? October 2000, right?
It's about that, yeah.
Yeah.
Tom Brady forever, Jackass forever. They what unbelievable careers, same time. And they both passed it off to different generations though. Tom Brady did it in a really terrible way. I mean, look, I had no problem with him. The retirement thing, let's end with that. Let's end with the retirement thing because I have a couple thoughts. Number one, when they all broke on Friday that he was going to retire possibly, I go, this is very sloppy. This is un-Tom Brady-ish. Tom Brady is not a kind of person to steal the thunder of the championship games and remember A-Rod a couple years ago, announced his retirement right before game 1 of the World Series or something like that. And it's sort of you're like, it's typical A-Rod fucking thing to do, to try to walk on someone else's moment, but didn't feel Tom Brady-ish. And then everything came out, what was it, Monday or Tuesday, that he actually was officially retired. What I think happened was he probably talked to his friends and his wife and his family. They made the decision together, and they just said, let's sit on it and let the weekend. And then one of them blabbed to someone and leaked it. And before you know it, it was out because it didn't seem right at all. And then when it did come out, the statement that he put out, I was in the car. I just heard the guy read it, and I was more along the lines of just processing the fact that he was actually retired. I'm like, oh man, we're actually old now, and I didn't because I'm not a Pats fan. It didn't affect me or didn't dawn on me that he didn't mention the Pats at all until later on when it became a thing. But if I'm a Pats fan, if this is it. If that's going to be his thing, I mean, obviously the man's going to the Hall of Fame, and obviously he'll go in as a Patriot, and he will be able to maybe talk to the Patriots fans directly then. But it did feel, when you look at it now, like more of a slight, and then not.
Well, keep in mind he made amends with the whole thing, but they moved on from him.
Yeah, no, I get it. I understand it. But
so he doesn't need to bootlick the Patriots, and the Patriots should stop being cucks because he moved on. So move on. You got your Mac Jones.
Yeah, I mean, there is that relationship aspect.
Get over it.
It's if a guy dies,
you got you 6 Super Bowls. Go fuck yourself.
First wife.
What do you want from the guy?
His wife then out, Yeah, no, I'm not saying that, look, again, I don't care either way. He gave me 2 championships, not him, but but I feel like if I was a Patriots fan, I mean, first of all, I would be shocked if Derek Jeter ever played. That's the only thing I can equate with. If Derek Jeter played his last 2 seasons in, I don't know, fucking Arizona, Phoenix, played for the and then only thanked the Diamondbacks a year later, I would probably have a big problem with it. Mm-hmm. As a fan, or I'd be surprised and probably a little bit of hurt.
He owes you nothing. He gave you everything. He owes you nothing.
And he will go in as a Patriot.
Yeah.
obviously, right? He's not going to go in as a buck. So, yeah, he's going to have his moment to thank the Patriot fans directly. You don't think they're going to retire his number up there?
They have to.
You don't think they're going to have a ceremony? I mean, of course they are. But what's the reaction going to be now?
You know, he's only one of 2 players in the history of the postseason that's over the age of 40 that has receiving yards. I think Jerry Rice has like 2,000 some receiving yards, and then Tom Brady has 6. Only 2 on that list. The guy's done everything. He's broken every record. And I know I've shit on him a lot. It's because he ruined my childhood. But
really?
This last thing and this decision to just retire without having a farewell season, I have so much respect for that. Because I feel like, when you're Big Ben and you go, oh, this is probably my last year. And then every game that you lose, it's like, well, it's still all about Ben. And this is great that he's here. And let's celebrate him while he's here. I have so much respect for the guy going out almost on top. He put up an MVP level season and he's just walking away. He's not making next year the Tom Brady season. He's bigger. Yeah. He's bigger than his ego. Tom Brady is saying, I am bigger than my ego and I don't need you all to blow me because I'm the greatest and I'm going to walk away the greatest and I'm leaving on my terms.
I'm trying to think, like Derek Jeter had a big farewell.
He did, yeah.
Right? And it was like they gave him gifts and stuff. Well, but here's my, if you're going to go into like maybe a broadcasting or something like that or coaching, then really the farewell thing is like, you're going to see these people again. You're going to be in all these buildings again. But Derek Jeter went on to buy another baseball team. So he doesn't I bet he hasn't been to Oakland since the fucking farewell tour. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, it is a different thing. He's not exactly going to be everywhere else.
It's an ego stroke, and Tom Brady's saying, "I'm above all that." Yeah, I respect that.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's baseball's a longer of a season as far as like, you like, look, I know going into this, this is it. Like football, it's like you kind of like, all right, I can't think about it. Does it feel like? Yeah, it's like
there's one game left. Feels like we just started.
I know, but. Yeah, I think Tom Brady, obviously is the greatest football player of all time. And probably one of the top 2, 3, team sports players of all time.
Yeah, Wayne Gretzky's probably still, just because he came into hockey and just flipped everything. And Michael Jordan with basketball, I would probably still put ahead, but he's probably number 3.
He's probably on the
Mount Rushmore
of that, what that is. Yes.
But one last thing, Steve, I think this new longer season was fantastic and it was fun, and RIP to Valentine's Day forever, because the Super Bowl is going to trump every Valentine's Day for the rest of our lives until they make the season a little bit longer and it's a week later. Because, I mean, now that sports betting is legal, what guy is going to be sober and have money the very next day for Valentine's Day?
I'm doing sets. I don't even remember. I called in for the 14th. I'm not even remembering.
You're doing sets on a Monday.
Yeah.
Tracy, we had our fun in Florida. That was our anniversary.
By the way, I'll be at the Stand in New York City Monday, Valentine's Day, for 3 shows I think I'm doing. So,
avoiding
happy Valentine's Day. Yeah, we just did a thing in Florida. We'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
She thought she was going to the beach and it was 40 outside.
Yeah, it was 40 degrees and gale force winds. They were like, "Do you want to rent a paddle boat?" I'm like, "And we can end up in Cuba. We'll be in Havana in a half hour."
And the fucking the lizards were all freezing, right? And falling out of trees.
Falling out of trees and shit. Yeah, that's no joke. People freaked the fuck out. They lost their minds. So yeah, Valentine's Day. That was we did it already. It's over. Yeah. That's it, right?
One last thing. This is kind of unrelated, but the Pro Bowl skills competition. Do you know who won fastest man? I will list the 4 participants. You tell Brent, try to guess who won this. All right, the 4 people that ran: Tyreek Hill, Nick Chubb, Trayvon Diggs, and Micah Parsons. Who do you think won that?
Micah Parsons probably won that foot race.
Damn it! How did you know?
He's ridiculously fast, and he's probably the best athlete out of those guys. I mean, that guy, Micah Parsons could probably play. he could probably play 5 or 6 different positions and do it better than most of the league right now.
Yeah. You could probably have him. He would be the most dangerous free safety you've ever encountered in your entire life.
Yeah.
He would make Troy Polamalu and who's the guy in Baltimore for years?
Oh, Ed Reed.
Ed Reed. I mean, how tall is he? 6'3", 6'4"?
Yeah.
I mean, do you know what he would do to you physically if he had a running start coming at you?
End careers in one hit.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I didn't know they were still doing that. The skills competition. Are they going to air it? Do the quarterbacks throw through the fucking things again and stuff like that?
I don't know if they have that. I miss that old quarterback.
They played dodgeball last year. Like it's not that exciting. It's not as good as what it used to be back in the day.
The hockey one's fun though too. The hockey one, the skills one's
still very fun. That hasn't changed at all.
Who can hardest shot? The
hit the target
handling skills. Fastest dude. Yeah, it's great. I look forward to that stuff. Tonight
it's too hard. It's too because no one wants to get hurt. There's too much money in their bodies for a worthless game, and they don't even get to go to Hawaii anymore. So who cares?
But Vegas is not a bad second.
They can go to Vegas whenever they want. It's not that expensive. You can get on Southwest for $49. Hawaii, like an all paid first class expenses to Hawaii is amazing.
I agree with you.
Bring your whole family, blah blah blah.
Bring your whole family.
You can't bring the whole family to Vegas.
But you can bring the whole family to my shows in Denver the last weekend in February, except as long as your family's over 18. That's the podcast for this week, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening. We'll be back next week with our Super Bowl predictions to make everyone wealthy. Don't forget this weekend, Kevin Kisner and Jason Day as the long shot. And also, who else did I say? Wait a minute. Where is he? Kevin, no. What did I say? It was,
Neil
Jason
Hamburger.
Day. No, it wasn't Neil Ham. Dude, don't. You know who I said. Go back and listen to it. Fucking A. Doc Redman. That's who it was. Don't fucking trust me, Burton. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. Go to steverenneseasy.com for tickets for stand-up shows. And we'll talk to you next week.
Go Bills.